Hi, this is a real-world comparison of the Motorola Edge 30 Fusion to the Motorola Edge 40 Pro. And I'm guessing that you're on the 30 Edge Fusion and you're considering upgrading to the 40 Pro. So that is the premise I'm going to answer from in this video. It may also be that you're just curious, and in that case, you're welcome. And the reason why I put it like that is the price ratio difference. It's 2 to 5 here in Denmark on the used market, and also actually from new because the 30 Fusion is on sale many places. My point being, it's a no-brainer to pick up the 30 Fusion for only 2/5 of the price, right? Or is it? Watch this video to find out. First off, let's take a look at what you get in the boxes. The Fusion on the left and the 40 Pro on the right. This is the 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigabytes version of the Fusion, and this is 12 gigs of RAM and also 256 gigabytes of storage. So let's open these boxes to see what you get. First up, you get the leaflets, but what you also get in both of them is this screen protector, and it's really nothing special. For the Pro, I would opt to buy a completely new one, and the Fusion's one is also nothing special. I bought this one instead for my Fusion, and this really picks up the impression you get. And of course you also get the SIM card ejection tools in both of them. So coming down to the business end, you get a 125 watt charger that charges in approximately 25 minutes. If you want to know how to get it to charge that fast, because it doesn't do so unless you follow the instructions that are made in this video right up here. So do that if you want to charge in 25 minutes. The Fusion comes with a 68 watt charger, and it charges in around 42 minutes. I also made a video on charging that right up here, and then of course you have USB-C to USB-C. A final thing I would like to add about these boxes is that the Pro actually comes with a scent, and it's pretty hefty. It really comes through and no matter what you do to try to wipe it off. So if you have something in your Pro box for a long while, it will definitely get that Motorola fragrance. Both phones look almost the same, and both fingerprint and face unlock works fast on both phones. Design, there's a slight difference of the camera cutout, and there's also a slight but important difference about the buttons. Much more easy to differentiate a single button layout to a much wider button up here than to these 3 almost exactly the same size buttons on the 40 Pro, and that causes for a lot of missed presses. There is a 30-gram difference on these two guys, and that is something you'll notice in everyday use. The in-hand feel is not the best, and both phones really should be used with a cover. The battery life difference is gonna even out because of the smaller screen on the Fusion, even though the 40 Pro has a less power-hungry CPU. But when both phones charge as fast as they do, it's not going to be a problem in daily life if you just charge once a day. IP certification on these two phones is splash and dust resistant on the Fusion, and IP68 dust and water resistant for up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes on the 40 Pro. And let's not try it out, as I bought these phones for my own money. Yikes. Biggest difference in my opinion is the CPU. And even though they are both fast and I would say sufficient in everyday use, you can just watch here, just another 13,000 for best loop score on a 3D Mark stress test for the Pro, opposed to 3,000 on the Fusion. That's a bit of a slaughtering. On the opposite hand, you have much more stable performance on the Fusion of 99.8 versus 65.9 on the Pro. And I would prefer a steady clock rate if you ask me. You can also see here the Pro drained 12% of battery versus only 5% on the Fusion. And we got some hotter temperatures on the Pro. Let me just also quickly show you the Geekbench scores. You can watch them right here. And the 4 gigs of extra RAM on the 40 Pro isn't something that will matter to most users. Gaming is also very much the same on these two guys. PUBG, for instance, here in Ultra HD Ultra. And as it is right now, they will perform about the same in most games. But if you want future proofing, of course, you gotta go with the 40 Pro. Mic and speaker quality. The mic quality is actually exactly the same on both of these phones, but for some reason, the 40 Pro uses a harder MP3 compression, or at least that is how it sounds. You can also hear that in another video I made up here. And finally, if you want to record video at night time, it illuminates your entire face like this. I can almost not see where I'm going, especially with two phones right up in front of my head. But the stereo speakers are a tad bit better on the 40 Pro, as can also be heard in this example.
This is a sound test. This is a sound test. This is a sound test. Does it sound right?
Promised software updates. It's 2 Android versions versus 3 Android versions, and it's 3 years of software updates versus 4 years of software updates. Please remember that Motorola's Android update history reveals that it's gonna take 5 to 10 months after the original Android release before it lands on either of these phones. Both phones receive bi-monthly software updates. Cameras. Watch the camera comparison I made right up here, but just to conclude on it, it's the Fusion for daytime selfies. In all other scenarios, it's the Moto Edge 40 Pro that has the upper hand. So, will the Moto Edge 40 Pro make you a happier man? Well, the biggest difference is the software support updates promises, and this 3 versus 4 years. And with the Fusion being almost a year older than the 40 Pro, we are talking 2 versus 4 years of support from now, and that matters in my opinion. Other differences are minor, but all in favor of the 40 Pro. So with that in mind, the 2 to 5 price ratio difference is perhaps granted after all. And I'd have to say that the Motorola 40 Pro will make you a happier man in the long run. Otherwise, just grab the Fusion and run. My name is Brian from Denmark, your tech friend, and I'll see you in the next one.